There is something that's calling each and every one of us, yes? There is a power, a presence, a rhythm, a drumbeat that is calling you to the highest expression of who you are meant to be on the planet. How many of us are listening? It's calling us to cross over the river of doubt, to cross over the river of insecurity, to cross over the river of everything that has ever blocked you from becoming who you are meant to be on the planet. And so many of us think that crossing and that obstacle is out here. Now, really, basically, the obstacle is always within us. The river is within us. It is pure, it is holy, it is sacred, and it is calling us. And ours is to listen to that drumbeat, to feel that meter, and to step into it with our knees knocking. Scared? Absolutely. I want to talk a little bit about fear and my mother. 62 years ago, my mother was excited in a dream and an adventure to give birth to her first child, her firstborn son. She'd just turned 21. And she was so excited, gone through 9 months of pregnancy, and was going to go to the doctor for the final visit to just see one more time the picture of her son, Robert, who was about to be born onto the planet. She was excited. And then all of a sudden the doctor said, wait a minute, hold on. There's something else going on here. There's another one. She knew 1 week before I was to enter the planet that she was giving birth to twins. They came up with the name Richard pretty quickly. But that accident was me. That accident was me. Hold on, there's more going on here. There's one more. I can only imagine in a 21-year-old, I remember myself when I was 21, to think I'd be raising 2 boys. I would have been wetting myself. I'm sure that there was fear in both my mom and my dad's. So was this an accident? Was this an accident, or was it a divine appointment? Was it an accident or a divine blessing? Any given moment you might say a complete and total accident, I don't know. She might do the same thing. But my parents got to answer that question in that moment, facing a call to a life that they did not plan to have. And 1 week later, September 19, 1962, my brother came out first, and I came out 5 minutes later. They got to answer, is this an accident or is it a divine appointment? And for 62 years, I've gotten to ask that same question. Am I an accident? Not maybe because I was unexpected, but because in my life I always felt like I didn't fit in, that I was swimming against the current of the river, and that I was just a little bit different than everybody else. That I didn't think the way everybody else thought. I did not look the way, and we were not typical twins. My brother, as a high school freshman, weighed 260 pounds. I weighed about 80 pounds dripping wet. We have these wonderful pictures. He played the clarinet, and I played the tuba. And to this day, we think, are these two from the same family? Are they even related, let alone twins? And yes, we are. But I got to ask and answer the question, is my life an accident? The call, the drumbeat that is calling me to a greater expression, is it all just in my head? Is it all something I'm making up and I really don't fit in? I felt like a square peg for most of my time on earth, trying to fit into a round hole. And every birthday, by the way, my birthday was this week, if you caught the date, and I want to thank you all. Thank you. I want to thank you all for the incredible outpouring of love in emails, in texts, in phone calls, in just passing me in the hallway and saying happy birthday. Unity has given me a gift to overcome years and years and years of feeling like I don't belong. Unity has given me that in my weirdness, in my strangeness, in my oddness, I absolutely belong. And I'm forever grateful for what this community here in Portland, Oregon, in California, gave me to overcome the obstacle that lived within me, the river that had to be crossed, the stinking thinking I held in my head to realize that I am not an accident. I'm not to be overlooked. I am not to be set aside. I don't care if I fit in anymore. I fit in perfectly with the design that God had for me. I fit in perfectly, and I want to extend that same vibration and truth to each and every one of you. Anybody ever feel like a square peg in a round environment? We find each other. We're the land of misfit toys, some like to say. rebels, mavericks, and misfits, all going, I don't need to fit in. And then we find each other, we magnetize to each other, and are attracted to each other to go, I found my people. They're as odd as I am. They're as out of the box as I am, and it feels like home. Anybody ever come here for the first time and you feel like you're home? And you have that epiphany? Wow, I didn't know there was an environment like this where I could cross the river, where there was a drum beat happening, and I realized that I've been ignoring it for a long time. Unity has given me the perspective that my life has a unique, special, and amazing character that is important. It is essential, it is vital, and it is necessary. And I want to extend that to each and every one of you. You are vital. You are necessary. You are important. And that cry, if you need to cry, cry. It's important. Hey, Rose, I love ya. Rose equally as vital and important as everybody in this room, as everybody on this planet. And guess what? That's a lifetime course. Just when you think you've got it, you ever done that? I've got it. I'm good. I understand that God is expressed through me, around me. And then something happens. Somebody shows up in my environment. Oh, another teacher, another growth opportunity. So every birthday, I get to examine the residue energy of stinking thinking. I get to examine the not okayness with being a square peg, with the okayness of the round environment, and go, I'm moldable, I'm flexible, I can shift, I can change, and that's organically me. It's a lifetime course of remembering, and every birthday I get to examine the truth that I want you to hold today. Take your hand and place it upon your hearts, and I want you to breathe deeply and connect with the simple yet very powerful truth. You are not an accident. I want you to make it personal and say with me, I am not an accident. Together, I am not an accident. And turn to somebody to your left and your right and say, you are also not an accident. You know, in this, I love the smiles in the room. I saw somebody up in the front go, you're not an accident, but I'm not so sure about you. And that was her husband. In this very fast-paced world that we're constantly living in, do you notice it's going 300 miles an hour? We're constantly encouraged to define ourselves by our accomplishments. Look what I have done. By our status, by our titles, and by our roles that we play. We are so conditioned as a human race to think our worth is tied to external things, to external realities. That how we do things, what we do for a living, how we look. And let me tell you, both my brother and I, think of the sizes, had to deal with a world that said we didn't look normal. High school freshman who weighed 80 pounds and a twin brother who weighed 260. We didn't look right. My brother, unfortunately, was a little bit more spiritually mature. He just got over it. I carried around, I wish I had been born this way. I wish I looked different. I wish I thought different. And maybe if I thought a little differently or acted a little differently, I could fit in. And then Unity gave me the opportunity to go, I don't have to even fit in with my family. They call me the misfit in the family. I've got a bunch of members of my family who are atheists, and I'm a minister at a church. I happen to love all kinds of music, and I love to sing. My family does not like vocal music, so I don't sing when I go home. I go out in the back 40 where I used to pick walnuts, and I sing to my heart's content. But I don't fit in, but that's okay. I'm not trying to change them. I'm not trying to change myself anymore, and suddenly a family that didn't know what love really was says it, expresses it, and experiences, because I'm okay with my square peg and they're okay with me being a square peg. But so many people are defining by how much money you make, how big is your house, how fast is your car, what are the clothes that you're able to put on, all these external realities. And for me, it went to the place of being an overachiever. I like sports, and I would collect those baseball trophies, and I'd line them up on my wall and go, look at me, I'm somebody. And I happened to be a pretty good bowler at one point. And I had trophies and awards and certificates. I bowled a 267 at one point, got real close to a 300. Don't ask me to go bowling now. I need the little bumpers for the gutter. But the reality is, what I found is all those awards and certificates and all the overachieving, it meant nothing to me because I went to bed lonely, sick, tired, feeling like I still didn't belong. The trophies didn't buy me anything. The certificates didn't buy me. They're wonderful. They were great. There was a momentary sense of accomplishment. I did not have the grounding and the understanding that I had value beyond all that. That I had value. You have value beyond what you do, beyond what you have, beyond what you think and what you feel. You are inherently valuable, period. Put your hand on your heart again. I am inherently valuable. And I don't have to earn it. So I've got the certificate on my wall that I fully participated in the comparison game. Anybody else do that? It's a quick road to suffering. You know, the Buddhists teach us that comparison is a state of argument. And if you're engaged in a state of argument, you're in a constant state of suffering. I've got a master's degree in comparison. Better than, less than, good enough, as good as. Anybody hold that one? I'm not as good as, but I'll keep working so I'm as good as you and forever be a bad impersonation of you. I found that there's a lot more peace in just going, I'm a square peg and I'm going to shine my light as brightly as I can the way God created me to be. There's nothing profound about that lesson. It's been in every Unity Church since the beginning of the Unity Church. But how often do we forget it? How often do we have to be reminded, I'm saying do it more than every birthday, that you're here for a purpose, a holy, sacred purpose, and you are not an accident. There's nothing wrong with all those accolades. If you got a big house, good on you. You earned it. If you got a fast car and you got lots of relationships, good on you. I will applaud you. But I will also remind you that you are not the house, the car, or the accomplishments. You can't take any of that with you. Silly adage, but it's true. You can't take the house and the car, and the trophies are going to stay behind on earth unless you put them in your casket with you, and I don't recommend it. Jesus knew this truth when he said to us in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 6, verse 20. Let's say it together. Lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. Where is heaven? Where did he tell us heaven was? Within us. It is an internal reality, an internal consciousness, and not an external one. All the treasure and trophies and certificates and accomplishments and jobs are meaningless compared to where the true value is measured. Your worth and value is a heavenly measurement, a spiritual measurement. It is not a physical one, not an earthly one. Beyond the number of things that you have or you do is a spirit of goodness and love that chose to do business as you. I'm going to dance dangerously close to the edge of blasphemy today because I'm a square peg and I can do it. And it needs to be spoken and it needs to be heard. That spirit doing business as you is here, it is now, and it is here and now for a reason. How many people feel like you're living your purpose and your reason for being born? Few of us, good. How many feel like that reason and that purpose has changed throughout your life? Because you're staying conscious, you're staying awake, you're staying present, you're staying in touch with the kingdom of heaven, the measurement within. There's more of me to birth. There's more of me to know. There's more of me to give. There's more of me to realize, to recognize, and to share. It cannot be measured with earthly possessions. No matter how hard you try, it will be a state of suffering. Earthly accolades, and you don't have to earn it. Now, I'll be honest. I think it's pretty valuable, those moments of feeling small. Anybody ever have a moment of just feeling insignificant? I like to go to nature. I like to go to grand and beautiful places, and my favorite place on the planet is at the bottom of Yosemite Falls. The power of that water pouring down on me. I get into that pool, and it's cold, and it wakes you up. And then I get as close as I can under that water and let it just beat on my head and my shoulders. And I realize in that moment I really am about that big. And then I go lay on the beach at midnight, right next to the Merced River, and I look at the stars and go, how great thou art. And I feel about this big. But sometimes feeling about that big comes as a situation or a relationship or a condition in your life. I don't need to go to Yosemite Falls in order to have that realization that my concerns and my worries and my problems are about this big. But we say it's good at Yosemite Falls, but it's bad in this environment. Could it be that feeling small is a necessary evolution to our becoming and not getting so full of ourselves and full of our ego when Unity in churches tell you everywhere, you are a magnificent expression of God, which is spiritually true, that we don't get so full of ourselves, which happens, Unity churches create monsters. It's all about me. No. Because what the awe and the wonder of the falls and the stars and the experience is we are having an experience together. And my part may be this small, but it is an important piece of the puzzle. It is an essential piece of the puzzle. And I must remain in balance from I and me to us and we. And that's what the small does. But I want to tell you today, that aside, that there is a divine blueprint with your name on it. Juanita, Linda, Bill, there is a divine blueprint that had your name on it. Your skin around it, and your life as its vessel, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Breathe that in for a second. Everything you're experiencing is not an accident, but it's there for something more beautiful and holy and sacred. By right of our consciousness, we can use it for something greater. You are an essential component, however small you've ever deemed yourself to be, to the engine of life, and never discount your importance of your piece. You're not just a random collection of atoms. You're not a chance occurrence in the cosmos, whether your parents expected you or not. You're here by a divine intention, a divine intelligence, a divine design, and a divine appointment. Repeat after me, I am here for a divine appointment. I am here for a divine appointment. The universe, God, spirit, life, light, love, I don't care what you call it, whatever resonates with you, it brought you into being. It brought itself into being expressed as you. Here's where the blasphemy comes. Not as one person, not as a few enlightened people, but as each and every person sitting here and those of you online as well. A divine intention had a thought, a self-contemplative thought, and all creation began. In the beginning, the book of Genesis, in the beginning was the one, the source, the light, the love, the goodness, the God. And that essence, that source and that power had a self-contemplative thought because that's all there was. It's a thought about itself, and bang, all creation began to spring forth. I call it the Big Bang. You are the result of a big bang, not of an accident. That big bang is not a one-off experience. I want you to hear that. So many are looking for that moment of inception where the big bang happened and all creation happened. You can't find it because it is an evolution. It is an ongoing process. This divine intelligence, this divine wisdom is forever thinking. And how is it thinking today? If you are the offspring of that one, created in the image and after the likeness of God, that self-contemplative thought is happening with the thought you're holding right now. You are creating a reality. The Big Bang is still happening. Ever expansive waves upon waves upon waves of creation based on what you're holding between your ears right now. That's how important you are. Based on what you are holding between the rib cage right now in this moment, you are creative. Say that with me. I am creative. The Big Bang is a continual process of the one source energy operating in a perpetual mode of thinking itself into expression. So if you were created in the image and after the likeness of God, what are the qualities of that God that you were created in and as? Call them out. Perfection. Joy. Compassion. What was that over there? All powerful. Love. And there are people on the planet that will tell you, how dare you claim to be powerful, compassionate, joy, love, to be on an equal playing field with God. It's not about being on an equal playing field with God. It's recognizing that God chose to do business as you. And that the thought of God, you're not just a divine idea in the mind of God, because that looks like separation. You are the essence of God expressing divine ideas where you think right now. So we're going to make it to a place of oneness and not separation. Yes, unity teaches that you are a divine idea in the mind of God, Bob and Nancy. But beyond that, let's make it more personal. God chose to do business as you, and so the Big Bang is happening. I'm going to say this. The Big Bang is happening in your household. Oh, I got a little blush there. You are not only one of these thoughts in the creation process, but you are also an extension of that source energy, thinking itself into expression. Do we have another slide? All right. I'm going to read this with you. Please read it with me. Together, you are the result of a perpetual Big Bang. And the possibilities of ever-expansive expressions of you are happening with every breath, as God reveals itself in, around, through, and as you. Therefore, you are being born each moment. But where we stop sometimes is that place of, oh, somebody's not going to like it. Yes, God is happening around me. Easy to do. God is happening in me. Okay, I'm okay with that. God's happening through me. And then we develop the Christ consciousness, which we have been challenged to do by the master teacher. God is happening as me. Say that with me. God is happening as. We've been playing small for too long. Way too small. Let the Big Bang happen in your household. In your household. In your household. And realize that your worth and your value is far more tremendous. The world needs you. It may feel small. It may feel insignificant. But without that peace, life is not complete. Yes? Let's go to Charles Fillmore. He's the founder, co-founder of Unity. This is what he has to say. Let's read it together. Every part of you was imagined, crafted, and brought to life with care and intention. Nothing about you is an accident. You are an expression of spirit in the world, uniquely you, and perfectly placed where you are. Every experience you have is part of the unfolding of life's purpose. You are part of an unfolding birthing process, and you are not a victim to it. Yep, he's going to take the victim card out of your hands. You are a part of a great Big Bang birthing experience. You are not a victim to it. You don't like what you're seeing, create something different. You don't like what you're experiencing, think something different. Feel something different and play your role as an essential component of the creative birthing process. Meister Eckhart, the 14th century mystic, said, we are made to be the birthers of God, and God is always wanting to be born. We are meant to be the mothers of God, and God is always wanting to be born. So the thoughts coming out of your head and the words coming out of your mouth, are they an accident or are they a divine appointment? You get to decide. Are the experiences you're having an accident? Or is it a divine appointment and a divine opportunity to recognize that a birthing process is happening? Everything you are experiencing is an opportunity to give context, to give meaning to life when we see everything as a great birthing process and not as a disruption to your becoming. I want to say that again. We give context and we give meaning to life when we see everything, no exceptions, everything as a great birthing process and not as a disruption to our becoming. Everything you're experiencing right now in life, breathe with me, is a part of a divine flow and one that is guiding you to a more beautiful version of you, your God self, your God essence. You're either cooperating or you're not. You're either playing your role or you're not. And the role of God will be played by my enemy. And the role of God will be played by my nemesis. Or the role of God will be played by this experience. No, the role of God will be played for you. There are no understudies. You get to be the star of your own life. You're the director, the producer, and the star of your own life, and that's God. You don't like it, go ahead and be uncomfortable with it. Find the word that works for you. You are the star of your life, and that's love. And that's light. And that's life. Carl Sagan, let's just put religion aside for a minute. Carl Sagan said it beautifully. Let's read it. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself. You are the result of billions and billions of years of cosmic evolution, a unique expression of the universe becoming conscious. The universe is becoming conscious as you, Marie, and you, Mike, Judy, and Sam. This means your existence is deeply connected to the universe's grand design. Your life is part of a larger purpose. So when you don't play your role and you look for the understudy, you're depriving the world and the earth of the gift that can only come through you. Everything around us is following a pattern. This is the first day of autumn, right? I love the fall. There's patterns all around us. They have been going on for millions of years. The trees have been cooperating with patterns of life, of love and law for millions of years. Maybe there's something to us cooperating. Look at those stars. Find some place and go, yeah, I feel this small, but I'm a part of the great pattern of how this is all working without me controlling it. Maybe I can only control my small piece, the light that I am, and I will be a part of it. You are a unique expression of that order. That is the seasons, that is the sun, that is the moon, that is every part of it. You're not insignificant to that order unless you choose to be. And I'm saying the time has come to stop playing small. I'm going to invite the band to come back up. In a world that often measures value only by productivity, success, or appearance, it's really easy to forget this very simple truth. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to validate it, and you don't have to have anybody else validate it for you. It just is. You are loved because you exist. And that's a foundational principle of what we teach in Unity. You are loved simply because you exist. You were loved before you walked into the door, and hopefully a little more aware that you were loved after you walked into the door. Life has never been about being good enough. And our worth is not conditional. It's essentially who we are as spiritual beings having a human experience. I want you to consider today that every moment, every interaction and choice you make is part of a big bang, part of the universe's divine birthing process. And when you see your life this way, you start to live a little bit more intentionally, yes? And you become aware of the grand birthing that is happening at the point of you. I'm challenging you to go be the mother of God today, to be the child of God, and to be the essence of God. Charles Fillmore, a final quote, and then we're going to go into meditation together. Every person is a special creation in spirit, and in that special creation lies all the possibilities of God. The world needs you. Nothing profound about that, but maybe it's good to remind ourselves. It needs your voice. It needs your perspective. It needs your creativity. It needs your words. It needs your love. It needs your essence. It needs you to show up, not just for yourself, not just for the people in this room, but for the world that is screaming right now, we've forgotten who we are. We've forgotten that we belong to each other. We've forgotten that everywhere I look, I see the face of God. Take a moment to look around the room and just hold the energy. Everywhere I look, I see the face of God. And when you go home this afternoon and you go into the bathroom and you look in the mirror, hold that same energy. Everywhere I look, I see the face of God. You are needed because nobody else can bring the small piece that you bring to this puzzle. The great isness, the great source, the great energy is saying to us that no matter what is going on in your life, no matter how dark or light it is in this moment, hold on. There's more going on here. There's more going on here. We missed it. Is that an accident or is it a divine appointment? I'm saying make it a divine appointment. And get busy consciously creating the Big Bang as we realize that none of us none of us is an accident.